Hi, friends. Welcome back to Live at the Roxy on this Monday, November 6th. Remember the 5th of November yesterday. Today is the 6th. All right. So, okay. This is my thought process for the day. I was like, I want to do a show. It's Monday. I haven't done a show in a few days or on this channel. But I don't just want to talk about one thing. There's been a lot of questions I have on my mind just based on how people are handling life right now in general. So throughout the week, I kind of just wrote down questions that have been happening that make me think about things. I have 10 of them. I'm going to ask them to you guys. I want to know your thoughts on them, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on them. And they run the gambit, having to do with friendship, family, mental health, what's going on with the Middle East, things, all different things. And then if you have questions or comments or concerns or thoughts or bits or bots or twats, streamlabs.com/RoxyStryer. You can also super chat in. Streamlabs always preferred. I want to hear from you. Shout out to everybody who's here with me on this Monday night. I know for me, it is 6:23 p.m. For many of you, it's all different times around the world. So welcome, come one, come all. As long as you're not a prick, you are welcome here. And that's how the rock stars roll. In no particular order, except for the order in which I wrote them, let's start with question number 1. Drum roll, please. It was the weakest drum roll I've ever gotten in my life. What is an acceptable reason and time frame to cancel plans? Okay, and then I'm going to give you guys the story of which stems the question. A lot of my friends have been canceling plans on me recently. I was supposed to go tonight to a work event with a girlfriend. She asked me a week ago if I could come with her to this event. I said, I have the World Girls until 6:15 because we did a Patreon show before this. What time can we go? She said, that's great. I'll be there then. Let's go at 7. Signed, sealed, delivered. I also was asked by my other girlfriend if I could get dinner with her tonight. This was last week. I said, unfortunately, I cannot go get dinner with you. And it's a girlfriend I haven't seen in a long time. She was only going to be in town. I was like, I have this work event that I'm going to with a friend, so I cannot get dinner. So today I messaged the friend and was like, yo, we good for tonight? And she was like, nah. Unless you really want to, I want to work out and sleep. LOL. Love this girlfriend. But just feel like we out here in these streets being super disrespectful of other people's time. It was about 6 hours notice. I initiated the conversation. And there was really no good excuse except for this person wanted to go to the gym. How do you guys feel about this shit? What qualifies as a good excuse? And what is an appropriate time frame? I feel like if you are changing plans day of for any reason, it needs to be an emergency situation. Emergency situation might be your mental health, but an emergency situation, something that you did not see coming, that you could not have seen coming, that you cannot go to the event because if you go to the event, something bad is going to take place. I don't really believe in, I just don't feel like doing this anymore because it just feels like you do not care about the other person's time as much as you care about your own time. But I know there's a lot of people who have completely different opinions on this, World Girls included. D has talked many, and I'm not talking about D here, but D has talked many, and meanwhile, D's never canceled plans on me. But D's talked many times about how she doesn't mind if people cancel plans for any reason. How do you guys feel? Streamlabs.com/RoxyStryer, super chatting, getting your own questions of the day. or respond to these. If you have thoughts on them, what are they? I don't think I have ever canceled plans day of for anything other than something that had to do with grabbing Puppo or an emergency. But everybody is different. Like Mel says, people have different values. That's completely fine. What qualifies as a legitimate excuse or valid one? What do you guys think? And or tell me you want me to go to the next question. I warned you guys we were going to run the gambit tonight. I have all different questions that have just been on my mind about the way people are moving. My friend who did this to me tonight has done this to me like 2 other times this month. And I also have a lot of other friends who are saying similar things, just like, hey, sorry, can't do this anymore day of because I have this other thing I want to do, such as work out or sleep. And I get it. Times are fucking tough right now. But I could have made other plans and then I didn't. So that. And people sometimes aren't honest out loud about why they're canceling plans. Maybe it could be when they're saying I need sleep and to go to the gym. Maybe really what they're saying is like I am in the middle of a mental crisis or something. So yes, like I said, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar, super chat in. What are your questions, comments, concerns? For those of you guys who are new to the show, I talk about all different things here. It is live and it is at the Roxy. This is live. I'm Roxy. We talk about whatever the hell it is that I want to talk about, / whatever else the rock star wants to talk about, and that's you guys. The reason I prefer Streamlabs to Super Chats, and the reason a lot of creators prefer Streamlabs to Super Chats is because YouTube tends to take around 50%. They claim they take around 30% every year, year after year. They take about 50%, which is a big percentage. So we much prefer Streamlabs because the money that you give goes to the person that you want to support and not to the man. Question number 2. Who should you go on a second date with? Okay. Here's where this question is coming from. We went on a first date last night. And I'm conflicted because I think in our core of cores or guts of guts, we know when somebody isn't what we're looking for or hoping for or envisioning or what we don't think is necessarily right for us at that moment in our life. If you are at a point in life where you're looking for a life partner or you know what it is you're looking for. But this person was very kind. And I really appreciated how kind they were. But there were a couple of things to me that stood out as things that made us not compatible. I could try to give you some examples. One scenario that they painted for me is a scenario where they said that they don't really know how to end a night. And so sometimes they end up at 5 a.m. out at like a warehouse party. That doesn't feel like somebody I would necessarily be compatible with. Even though I do like to party, I don't tend to find myself in situations like that. They had mentioned a couple of value things that I didn't necessarily agree with. We seem to have a disagreement about what is drinking and driving and how many drinks quantifies as that. And then there was this person mentioned how communication, that women don't like communication. They're an only child. And I'm naming all the bad things right now. There were many good things. They were an absolute gentleman in terms of like served me first, was very inquisitive, asked me a lot of questions about my life, seemed to genuinely care about what kind of time I was having, picked a place that was closer to me, offered to drive me home, very chivalrous things, kind things, but it just felt like maybe we were not necessarily compatible. But I'm not positive that I seem to have like a little bit of a broken picker sometimes. So what for you guys to go on a second date, what does it take? Do you need to feel like it could be a yes, or do you need to feel like there's a possibility it's not a no? Does that question make any sense to you guys? Going into the Streamlabs, like I said, streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar on this Monday night. Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate everybody who is in here right now and who is showing up to show out and supporting. This entire show is funded by you guys. It only exists as long as you allow it to, which I appreciate. You are my boss. Mike Joyce in the Streamlabs says the Patriots are having a pretty rough season. Are you rooting for them to lose this year so they can get a high draft pick? I mean, it's a very difficult question because I'm never rooting for the Patriots to lose, but with a 2-7 record, yeah, I would prefer a high draft pick than us to randomly turn it around for like a game, then not, then a game, then not. I mean, we're playing in Germany next week. I always hope for W's when I'm watching the games. You can't hope for anything but holy shit. I mean, we need that draft pick. Sunday's game was a disaster and just gross to watch. Did not like. And I think that Mac is inconsistent and we just haven't seen enough for me to believe that he could be the future of this organization. And I feel like without Belichick, we'd be fucked. So people who think that's the answer, I just completely disagree with. I think that he is the saving grace of the Patriots, and we would be in a ditch without him right now. So that is how I feel. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar, super chat in, get in your questions, thoughts about anything that we are talking about. How do you know if you should go on a second date with somebody? Also, it just didn't feel a romantic connection with this person. But I often encourage my friends to try for a second date unless there's like a glaring issue. But from everybody that I speak to who's found their partner, their forever person, on the first date, there was no question on whether they wanted a second date or not. So let's go to my third question. Is it okay to not post about a topic you care about? So when everything was starting to go on October 7th and everybody was saying like, you have to be posting about this, your silence is deafening, all of that stuff, I get it. And I felt that. And I was seeing so many people not post about it. And that felt hurtful and frustrating. And anytime that something's happening, such as right after George Floyd with people not posting, that felt, I'm sure, to specifically people that well, it affects everybody too, but to the Black community, if you are not posting about that, it can feel, I'm sure, isolating and frustrating. Or to anytime that there is a major incident at the border or kids in cages. I mean, people being silent about that, it at first can feel very, very frustrating. But I have learned, even though at first, when you're not seeing people support, it can feel weird. As long as they're not just like blowing shit up about something else, like I thought it was strange people on October 7th who were nonstop posting about like their art projects. And I'm like, do you guys not know what's going on in the world today? That seems a little insensitive, but I've learned to really appreciate and respect people who are quiet about things sometimes. A lot of people will DM me and not post things. And I think that as long as you know where somebody's heart is and somebody cares about something, it's completely valid for them not to be sharing every fucking intricate thought that they have on the situation or to be blasting it out publicly, especially because maybe they are not as educated on the subject matter and maybe they don't know the right thing to say or the wrong thing to say. I think it's so much more useful to reach out to people you know are affected by a situation than to publicly post something. But if you are going to publicly post, then you have to be careful about what you do post. So while sometimes my initial gut is like, oh, I can't believe this person's not making any public statements about that. Really, when you take a step back and you think about it, that is an absolutely acceptable thing to do. It is not my choice typically because I do feel like I am a public figure, even though I am an absolute E-list public figure. Z-list public figure. But I tend to try to use my platform if I'm educated on a matter to speak on it. But I also think that it has taken a toll on my mental health many times. And I respect and appreciate people who are able to protect that at all costs. And just been thinking more and more about my friends who have reached out to me but not publicly said something and how that is A-okay with me. The people who have reached out to me, I'm so grateful for. People letting me know if any shit goes down, they're happy for me to come live with them, stay with them. They'll never turn their back on me. That kind of thing is so much more appreciated for me than like a flag or a I stand with blank or a color square, which I still do. But when people don't, I think that's okay. What do you guys think? Streamlabs.com/Roxy Striar. Super chat in. Questions, comments, concerns, bits, bots, thoughts, twats on this random Monday night show of questions that have come up this week for me. And I'm sure you guys have thought about at some point in your life as well. Mike, our sole Streamlabber of the night so far. You are the man, and I appreciate you. For other people who want to support the show, like Mike, do it like Mike. Please send it in. Question number 4. How often should you be healthy? This is something that I've been talking a lot about with my friends right now, about how often you should be healthy, because a lot of people cut out whatever they believe to not be healthy. I'm mostly talking about dietarily, but like it's not just diet, it's also sleep and stress. Like there are people who are like, under no circumstances am I going to get less than 8 hours of sleep. I am not going to eat any processed sugar. I'm going to go to the gym every single day. I am going to do therapy once or twice a week for the rest of my life. Like, there are people who are very regimented with their health. And then there are people who are extremists in terms of all different kinds of things. I'm never going to drink alcohol again because it's not good for you. I'm not going to smoke weed or cigarettes because of my lungs. I will do 0 XYZ because it's not good for you. I won't be in the sun because could cause skin cancer. I won't do this because of these effects. And at what point is something less healthy because it's more stressful, right? Like, so I was out the other day. This is where this kind of came into my thought, with a new girlfriend of mine, and she had told me that she was trying to go sober. I said, oh, that's great. For what reason? And not for what reason as in like why, but just like it didn't seem like she was saying she was trying to go sober because she felt she had a drinking problem. Just felt like she was saying, oh, I thought she was trying to say like, I'm doing a sober November or whatever, which a dry November, which a lot of people do. And I was like, she was like, no, I think I'm just going to be sober in general. And I was like, oh, that's great. And she was like, yeah, because I know it's really not good for you and it can cause cancer. And I kind of was unpacking with her for a little bit. And it's like, when we got to lunch, she really wanted to have a glass of wine. She was like, oh, just hemming and hawing over it, and seemed like she was really stressing. She's like, it's organic wine. I really want to have it, but I don't know if I should. And I just feel like I don't know. Maybe I'll try to drink once a month, but then that might turn into once a week. And then I really could be unhealthy because of it. And all of the stress that was going into it, I just felt like, this is interesting. This is not somebody here who thinks that they have a problem with alcohol. This is somebody who's trying to protect their health, and thinks that alcohol is detrimental to their health. And alcohol is not good for you. That is true. But then there's a lot of people who talk about the antioxidants in red wine and how it is a stress reliever for some people. And I don't know if sometimes when people cut things out to a full, and I'm of course not talking about addicts who need to cut things out in order to just survive. I was just watching this amazing interview with Jamie Lee Curtis talking about staying sober being the most important thing and the best thing she's ever done with her whole life. So that's not what I'm speaking about. But people who become just like absolutely obsessive, or my friend who's like, I have to work out tonight, so she canceled the plans on me, or anybody who cannot get less than 8 hours of sleep, because if they one night get less than 8 hours of sleep, that will throw off their whole week. Those are the kind of things that I'm like, I feel like you're so obsessed with being healthy that it's unhealthy. And I'm going to do the best I can to be healthy. And moderation is key in that, I believe. But what do you guys think? Do you think an obsession with being healthy is actually a positive thing and can cause you to maybe live longer? Or do you believe that there should be moderation, or that we should just throw caution to the wind, because we always hear those stories about people who live till they're 110 and smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day anyway? Winter in the Streamlab says, as a person who's aware that I'm not the most educated about current events, I'm okay with people being mad at me for not saying something sooner if when I do, I can be as well informed as possible. I think that's a completely valid thing to say. I hope people aren't mad at you for not saying things sooner, because I think it's extremely valid to sit on it, wait, learn, and try to educate yourself on something. Ash in the super chat says, I think I said in the Streamlabs at the end of the last show, but I don't think you read it. Might have missed it. I don't know if it would even be relevant now. Thank you for super chatting in, Ash. Let me see. You did. You said, oh, did you see they're airdropping millions of fruit flies into LA? They're sterile fruit flies, so they can help combat invasive species of fruit flies, apparently. But the headline is so funny. Yeah, I did see this, and they're doing the same thing, I believe, in Florida with like modified mosquitoes or something like this. Just fucking craziness. There's so many bugs in LA right now. My friends are just like torched with bites top to bottom. I keep getting bites too. It is a nightmare. So many spiders too. Ash, also in the Streamlabs today, streamlabs.com/Roxy streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. That's my name. I've worn it out apparently. Ash says, number one, 24 hours if no emergency. Okay, so you need to give somebody 24 hours if no emergency if you want to cancel. I think that's a fair rule. Number two, if hanging out with them made me happy in the way you want to be. So that's how to know if you should go on a second date with somebody. It didn't make me happy in the way I want to be, so maybe I shouldn't. Number three, I haven't posted to almost any public social media in 6 months. Interesting. I think that's fair. Do you feel good about that? Number four, most things are fine in moderation. Just check yourself to make it not a habit. Yep. Yeah, it's like the most annoying word sometimes when I use it because moderation is so key, and like to find that balance is very, very important. Let's go to question number 5, and you guys continue sending questions if you have them. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. What is the perfect amount of time to go home for? So I'm going home for Thanksgiving. I haven't booked it yet because, as you guys know, Grammy has been in a wheelchair, and after a dog tackled her over, and I have been attempting to be here as much as I can to help her, and I was trying to figure out if I would be able to go home. It looks like I might have some support and help over here during that time, so I think I am going to be able to go home. And I always get nervous about when I go home because I live 3,000 miles away. It is a 6-hour flight, but a 6-hour flight is really a 9-hour flight when you're going that way because you lose the 3 hours. Plus, you have to be at the airport an hour and a half in advance, and it takes an hour to get there most times because LAX is so crazy. So it's really like a 12, and then to get from the airport to my house, it's like a 12-hour day. And on the way back, it's like a 9-hour day, if not more. So you kind of lose the day both days. So you're already not going to be in LA for those 2 days. And then you want to make sure that you're getting time in with your people. So usually I try to go back for about a week to 10 days if I can, because I don't go back. I go back more often than a lot of people are able to, but I don't go back as often as a lot of my friends on the East Coast do. And you guys know I'm very, very close to my family. And I find that it's a very hard thing to balance because the longer I'm gone, the harder it is to come back here because I love my family so much, because I am so close with them, because when I'm home, I feel so taken care of, so comfortable, so safe. When I come back here, as you guys know, I live alone. I get fucking nervous all the time. I have a very intense alarm system here because I just am like freaked. I am oftentimes solo. There's nobody who takes care of me like at all in any way. Not financially, not emotionally. Everything I do, I have to do for myself out here. All my friends here are married or engaged with children and have things to take care of. When I'm here, it's mostly me taking care of people. And I am so grateful for my life. I love the choices that I've made, but sometimes I do live a more challenging life based on the choices that I have made. And sometimes when I go home, I'm just like, fuck this. I never want to go back. And if I'm home for 2 weeks or more, usually that happens. So I try to not hit that 2-week mark very often, because if I do, getting back here feels like getting stabbed with knives. But I have this dream. So for you guys, what's your consensus on how long is good to go home for? I know this question is not relevant to everybody because a lot of people already live at home or are not, home doesn't feel the same way it does for me, for them, which I feel awful about because I feel so lucky to have a home like that. Let's see, you guys think, John, you're anxious if you're away for more than a week. I get that. Yeah, I get that. No, I would say that nobody here really emotionally takes care of me. No, I have people who reach out and are kind, but everybody's busy and they've got their own shit going on. And when I'm going through extreme trauma, then I do have people, but most of the phone calls I get are from my people back east. I've got a couple of friends out here that I really do love, but most of them are in their own worlds very heavy, and it's not their job to take care of me, yeah. I'm very much so a caretaker, and I feel like that is my role in a lot of my friend groups, which I feel very proud of. Okay. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Strider. Super chat in. Questions, comments, concerns. We're halfway through my list of questions. And we still have more. Yeah. Question number 6. What the fuck does the AMPTP mean when they say last, best, and final? I guess this is more of it's not even a hypothetical question because truly, like, for those of you guys who do not know, the AMPTP gave back an agreement to SAG that said, this is our last, best, and final offer. And today, SAG said, I'll read you guys exactly what they said. They emailed all of the SAG members, and they've also been updating things on their social media. And this is what they wrote. So SAG said, this morning, our negotiators formally responded to the AMPTP's last, best, and final offer. Please know every member of our TV theatrical negotiating committee is determined to secure the right deal and thereby bring this strike to an end responsibly. There are several essential items on which we still do not have an agreement, including AI. We will keep you informed as events unfold in solidarity. Okay, this is I just was like, when they announced it's our last, best, and final offer, I giggled because, or what? It's just such an empty threat. Like, it's our last, best, and final offer, or we'll never work with another actor ever again. Like, are you guys kidding me? And if they are holding on to this AI issue for dear life, does that not freak everybody out? Do people not understand that with AI comes a loss of jobs, not just for the actors, but for the casting directors, for the gaffers, for every person who works on set and is involved with lighting the actors, doing sound for the actors, being an assistant for the actors, getting food and crafty for the actors? Like, there's no jobs that won't be affected on a set if we budge on the AI issues. And we cannot budge on the AI issues. So for the AMPTP to be like last, best, and final, it's like, it's just such an old school dumbass response. These are last, best, and final. Okay. So you're saying that if you don't agree with me, then you're out. So you're just never going to come to an agreement ever? Like, just the dumbest phrasing. Like, you could say, we feel like this is the best we can do at this time, which is bullshit, and it's not. But this is our last, best, and final. Like, you guys are such billionaire pricks the way you are verbalizing this. Last, best, and final. So either agree to let AI take your jobs or we walk. Like, everybody who's an actor wants to work right now, but we cannot if they do not budge on the AI issue. Last, best, and final. Or what? We're calling your bluff, bitch. Like, last, best, and final. Okay. Well, not good enough. So now what? Now you're peace out, tapped? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. The terminology is just ludicrous. So I guess it's more of a rant than even a question. But what were they even trying to accomplish? Last, best, and final. Like, it's a scare tactic that nobody on earth would fall for. They're our last, best, and final. Okay. Not good enough. So it's not your last. It's not your best. And it won't be the final in the same way that it wasn't for the WGA. Because that's crazy. You guys seem to agree with me in the chat, which Word, preaching to the choir. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer as we go into our 7th question. Why aren't we more educated on women's bodies? Dude, I have just been spending so much time recently dealing with women body shit. With freezing eggs and whether or not I'm going to go through that process and what that means and how expensive it is. And if I do it, what the actual chances of it working are and how many of those eggs actually might make it during the unfreezing process and how expensive it is to get them thawed out. And does it make a difference where you do it at? Because some places are $15,000 versus some places are $25,000. And do you have a better chance of having a kid if it is $25,000? Not that I could afford either of those right now. And what you have to do in order to do that, and what kind of hormones are you really pumping through your body, and what could those hormones lead to, and what could they feed, and is there a direct correlation between the hormones that you need to take and cancer, and every other question that a lot of female assigned at birth people have to effing deal with, that just like are just on us, that my healthcare provider or health insurance doesn't pay for a single dollar of. Like, did you know that to get your eggs frozen, your health insurance does not pay for $1? And while I can go to my gynecologist and ask them what's up, they have to refer me to a fertility doctor who I pay 100% out of pocket for. And yet I have other people who are saying that my worth of as a woman is directly tied to my ability to have a child, which I cannot do at this moment, obviously. So just really frustrating. And I'm not even sure that having biological children is something that matters to me, but I don't want to take the option off the table because I don't know who my partner is going to be, and it might matter to them and it might eventually matter to me, which who knows if it's even a possibility, because as many of you guys know, I have not had a period for 7 years. And why haven't I had a period for 7 years? Well, actually, the doctors know no. And if I want to get down to the bottom of that, I have to run a lot of tests. And in order to run those tests, who pays for those tests? I do, because they're also not covered by insurance. So even to answer any of these questions, every test is out of pocket. Everything costs thousands of dollars. And is very stressful. And what is stress bad for? Stress is bad for your fertility and your health and your well-being. And just why is none of this more talked about? HPV, which is leading to not only just cervical cancer, but also infertility in women, is going up. And one of the reasons they believe is because of HPV. And the numbers recently of HPV in women in this country, doctors believe is around 90%, because there is no HPV test for men. You cannot get tested to see if you have HPV if you are a man. They've never invented that test. So men just be out here spreading it like fucking crazy because our world just doesn't give a fuck about over 90% of humans. Like, just shit like that, that's fucking asinine. Or like, these are all issues that all of my women friends face. Like, finding lumps in your boobs. Like, when I went for my most recent gyno appointment, they want me to go get a mammogram because I have cystic tissue all over my body. I have cysts in my neck. I have cysts on my leg. I've always had cysts, and people with cystic tissue are much more likely to have hidden tumors that you don't know because of whatever. But once again, cannot afford to do that. So it's just, as I'm going through these things, and then you hear all these celebrities talk about all these things that you should be doing for women's health, and like getting full body scans, as I'm watching the Kardashians for this full body scan that Kris Jenner did that I'm desperate to do, but it's $2,500 to tell you what you have. And like, where is the money coming from? And we live in a world that has the ability to diagnose people, but people can't afford to be diagnosed, let alone for the medication if they are diagnosed. And it's not just a women issue, obviously, but we just know so much less about women's health than we do men. We talk so much less about it, and it's way more taboo. And we are supposed to be able to carry people's children, and yet I get no financial help in trying to be able to do that. That's fucking crazy. So that's one of my questions. Just why don't we give a shit about that as a society? That's fucking wild. All right, Ash in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. That's my name. Ash says, number 5, I live 40 minutes from my parents. Going home for 3 to 6 hours a couple times a week is good enough. Yeah, I think that's kind of what my siblings do a little more too, because they live close. Number 6, obviously we're dissolving our studio if SAG says no. I know. Like, what the fuck? Number 7, women weren't welcome in sciences till recently, so the males doing the research didn't care. I know. Yeah, that's the answer, but just frustrating. And like, it is now recent. So what? Like what? So that, okay. Number 8, when do you need to be in therapy? So you guys know I've been in therapy my whole life, on, off. Right now, I am working on getting my therapist back because I had a sponsorship deal that was helping with the therapy, which is no longer helping with the therapy, and talk about things you can't afford right now. But it's something that I need to prioritize and figure out, because when it's what's so challenging is that when you are in a crisis is of course a time that you need to be in therapy, but it's not the time to start therapy. Like, hopefully you jump into therapy prior to being in crisis mode, so you have the tools already in place in order to deal with crises that come up. But I also believe that you don't want to just do therapy every single week for the rest of your life. There's nothing wrong with that, but it does feel a little daunting to think like you're never able to not be in therapy. So I have less of the answers on this one, more of a question, just curious from you guys. When do you think it's the most important to be in therapy? Do you just kind of do it as problems arise? Do you do it when you have more free time? Do you do it before a big event? What are your thoughts on therapy? While you guys are answering that, sips water. I think that I'm really grateful that I got heavily back into therapy earlier this year. It really has been helping me, had been helping me a lot. And luckily, I had a lot of tools to deal with radical acceptance for things that I cannot change except for changing myself, which has been helpful during this time. Yes. And it is crazy also how that is not covered by insurance either. Even though insurance claims to cover mental health services, but only the ones that they try to send you to, which are the ones that have wait lists that are years long, which is fucking crazy town, USA. It's a big bitch sesh I'm doing right now. Venting. Number 9, where do you want Jewish people to go? This is my biggest question of the week. Where do you want Jewish people to go? Number 1, there's people who are claiming that Jews are not indigenous to Israel. It's just completely false. And by every definition, by the UN's definition, if you're speaking biblically, if you're speaking by textbooks, no matter what you're looking at, Jews are indigenous to Israel, as are Palestinian people, by the definition of what it is to be indigenous. So they are indigenous. But okay, for the people who just keep shouting from the rooftops that Jews are not indigenous there because Palestinians are the only ones who could possibly be indigenous to there, which is they are indigenous to there. But okay, where do you want Jews to go? A lot of people answer this question saying Iraq, where they came from, or Poland, where they came from, or Brooklyn, where they came from, which are 3 absolutely asinine answers for so many different reasons. Number 1, it is illegal to be Jewish in Iraq. You step into Iraq and you say that you are Jewish and you are able to be beheaded. Poland is not where we originated from. And do you guys remember why we left Poland? Do you remember what happened in Poland? Might that be not a comforting place to be for all of the Jews who that's where my family was from, part of it. Okay. And Brooklyn is very small and a lot of Jews are there anyway. But that is not where the Jews are indigenous to and could not fit the very small amount of Jews that are left on the planet, but still they can't all go to Brooklyn. Also, I don't know if you guys have caught on to the fact that this country is extremely anti-Semitic as well. And I don't think that would go very well. So it's just really truly my question to people is, where do you want us to go? Because if you don't want us in Israel, but you don't want us in this country, but you certainly don't want us anywhere else in the Middle East, because there are, if you look at the cleansing of Jews throughout the Middle East and where we were and where we are now, you'll see we've been mass executed from every place that we have been in the Middle East. Where do you want us? If you do not want us in one place, where do you believe we are indigenous to or should go? All of us? And what the fuck is that? And are you saying that while living on stolen land in this country? Because then maybe you should go back to your country and we should give all of the land here back to the indigenous people who got totally fucked. You goddamn fucking psychopaths. Where do you want Jews to go? If you can't answer that question, then you can't tell them to leave a country, because there's nowhere that you are accepting them to go. And even then, it's still fucking crazy. Ash in the Streamlab says, number 8, Tune of Bo Burnham, welcome to the internet. Need a little bit of therapy. Wait, I don't remember Welcome to the Internet's tune. I did watch this special. But need a little bit of therapy all the time. Actually, though, I went weekly for like 6 months, then monthly. Now I go once every 3 months or so, or if I feel I need. That's great. I love like that upkeep. It's almost like getting your nails done. Number 9, wherever they want would be nice. I agree. Wouldn't it be nice to not get murdered for existing wherever you were? Would be ideal. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Super chat in answers to any of these questions. Number 1 was, what is an acceptable reason and time frame to cancel plans? Number 2 was, who should you go on a second date with? Number 3 is it okay to not post about a topic you care about? Number 4, how often should you be healthy? Number 5, what is the perfect amount of time to go home for? Number 6, what the fuck does the AMPTP mean when they say last, best, and final? Number 7, why aren't we more educated on women's bodies? Number 8, when do you need to be in therapy? Number 9, where do you want Jewish people to go? And number 10, what's the best way to answer, how are you? What do you guys think? Should we just always say okay? Should you always say actually how you are? Should you dodge the question? Like, I'm so tired these days. How are you? Oh my God, it rocks. How are you? I mean, not good, Betty. Like, and it's awkward, and everybody's awkward, and it's weird, and it's shitty. Just say, fine. Oh, why fine? Fuck. You say, I'm good. But you're not. Like, I never know how to do this one. Oh, you doing okay? No. Just how do you answer? What is the best way to answer? Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer super chat in. I'm fine. How are you? Yeah, I always hit them with a how are you too. Or like, what about you? I just don't know at work. How you doing? It's like, I just don't want to bring anybody down. How you doing? I try to usually make it some kind of joke like, I'm living, I'm alive, keeping it pushing. Jimmy, living the dream. Living the dream. Yeah. Living the dream. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you to everybody who's been in here today. Streamlabs in your final thoughts, super chat in. Thank you for the support. A extra big thank you to Ash and to Winter and to Mike Joyce for keeping this show alive today. I am only able to be here because of the support from you guys at home, because of the Streamlabs and the super chat. So you guys, thank you for allowing the show to continue. And thank you to all the thank you to all the fans. Fans is the weirdest word. Thank you to all my friends in here, to all the rock stars who are here. I know that not everybody right now is financially able to support the show, and just you showing up means a lot to me. Trust me, I'm not able to financially support any of the shows I want to right now, so I do get it. But it does mean the world to me. Shout out to Jeremy and Jimmy and Andrew and Jose and John and Jake and Stormy and Christian and Mike and Zeno and Kyle and Robert and Jeremy and Mel and all of the people, Brittany. Yeah, all my friends. Appreciate you guys. Okay. Much love. And stay safe, stay sane. Put on the seat and lid. We don't want those plumes. Don't trumpet the Holocaust. Justice for all the people who lost their lives due to excessive force. My body, my choice, wherever you're on the rainbow. We love you. We stand with the women of Iran, some of the bravest women we've ever seen, especially as we are watching what their fucking government continues to do. Disturbing and disgusting. So many governments right now are disturbing and disgusting. Golden sparkles for the Zen one himself, Glenn Caesar. I do see another Streamlabs rolling through from the one, the only, the great, what rhymes with great? Ash. Depends if I'm willing to share. Usually not bad. You, if I'm just clearly just a greeting, could be better and judge by their response if they want more. And then sometimes just the truth if I know them well enough to know they actually want to know. Yeah. Papa used to always say, I make a living. And it's like, it's kind of a good one. I like could be better. Could be better, but maybe it could be better, could be worse. Because unfortunately could be. All right. That's it for tonight. I'll see you guys throughout the week. Thanks for being here. You're the best. Later.